Here we are.
Saw another French language thriller / horror, CJ, to recommend to you.
What is it?
Red Rooms.
Red Rooms?
Yeah, I've seen 3 in the last month: The Beast, Mads, and Red Rooms.
These are 3 French horror films?
Yeah. Well, they're all like on the borderline of horror and thriller. I would say Mads is the only one that's a little closer to horror. But that's the one that is all one shot.
What year? 2023?
Yeah, they're all in the last 2 years, I think.
Okay. Where are you finding these at?
I just like
Shudder?
well, I forget where you mean, like where I find to watch them.
Yeah.
One, I listened to an end of the year movie Ringer Pod, and then Letterboxd is pretty cool. I've become like a Letterboxd guy. It's like the only good social media site.
It's good to hear. I like Letterboxd.
Yeah. Mads is cool though. I would say that like The Beast is the best movie of the 3, but Mads is like the coolest probably. And watching all these foreign language films, it's just like I'm becoming the captions guy. I have captions on all the time now. It feels like audio in movies and TV is worse than it used to be. Or maybe it's my hearing's fucked up, which is also part of it.
Possible.
Yeah.
Are you a physical media guy?
I wish I was. I hate stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to have like Blu-rays and shit though.
Yeah, I don't know if Shudder streams 1080, but I've been wanting for a while now to start working on that to be able to completely get rid of. I don't know if we talked about this in a previous filter in about DVDs. I feel like this is something I might have talked about recently.
That you're a DVDs guy?
That I want to be, because the quality is so much better. Like even if you pay 4K Netflix, it's still like 720p, and the quality is just like not what they say you're paying for, and they continue to raise the pricing.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And to answer the chat question, no, I have probably like 30 vinyl records. I used to have like crates of them in college from when we would DJ or whatever. But like I want to be a vinyl guy, but it's just like so inconvenient to listen to it. You get 4 songs are over, then you got to get up. It's like annoying. All right, let's go. Annoying. Perfect lead in. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process, at 302-864-8643. MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP by going to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. And of course, Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe. Subscribe at rightsrickysanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, big shocker, Sixers lose again, this time to the Knicks. But even more stuff. The Sixers are staying in South Philly, and Joel Embiid, like, big shocker to everyone. There's some like weird injury thing going on with Joel Embiid. So, of course, we'll go through that, and we will continue the longest eulogy for a season ever as the season goes on. There's a new episode of the Draft Council. It's out right now. They concentrate on the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if you want to listen to a podcast about a team that is good with a hopeful future, you can listen to the Draft Council. They talk about the team now and then their draft outlook with the 47 first-round picks they have from everybody. You can get the Draft Council wherever you get your podcast. Just search the Draft Council. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. If you want to drown your sorrows while watching one of these games, if you need a little bit of a buzz, but you want that buzz to come from a drink that tastes awesome, is just lightly sweet, only has 100 calories, only has 3 grams of sugar, comes in a lot of different varieties, is based right here in Philadelphia. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. My favorite is just the straight up lemonade and vodka. Perhaps you like the green tea and vodka, whatever it is. And if you're in PA, remember, you can get stateside or Surfside like anywhere that you get alcohol now, whether it's a grocery store, gas station, beer distributor, used to just be liquor store, but that's not the case anymore. We love Surfside. Love it. You can also just order it at statesidevodka.com, but you got to be 21. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who just doesn't care. I mean, how could you care, Mike? I don't.
No, it is hard to care. They are bad. They're a bad team. They at least tried in these 2 back-to-back games.
Yeah.
They weren't
embarrassing
Oklahoma City
games.
game was a G League team.
Yes.
But they cut it to 4 at one point, and good for them. And Justin Edwards looks like he's another find. Which is nice to see.
Can't wait to cut him. Who do you think's going to sign him? The Thunder?
He does feel like a Thunder guy, as
Or
far
the
as a guy that
Spurs?
can kind of just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
On the court. I mean, like, good for them going overtime, but like, who gives a shit? Like, the season's over. The season is like beyond over. They are 9 games under 500. The trade deadline's in a few weeks. I mean, some players are playing better. Some players are playing worse. Some players can't hit shots, and Nick Nurse can't win a game. So if you tell me, it's everybody's fault. If you want to tell me that it's Nick Nurse's fault that they're not better, fine. I don't give a shit. Fire him, whatever.
Yeah,
fuck him.
Yeah.
I mean, the season's just so over. It's been over for a while. This stretch without Embiid is obviously a real nail in the coffin stuff, and they're heading into truly the hardest schedule possible for the next 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks.
The hope is
deadline. So the odds are they'll be at least, they're 9 games under 500 now. Odds are they'll be at least
30,
15, 16 games under 500. They're just ultimately not good. I have some notes about the game, but I don't know.
Kind of wanted them to just go for 3 at the end of regulation, because I felt like there was absolutely no chance they were going to win in overtime, to be honest with you. I mean, look, the I don't want to belabor this fucking game. I mean, really, there's
we haven't started talking about it, and you're already saying you don't want to belabor it.
Well, I mean, it's like if they won, whatever. If they lost, whatever. But I just knew they weren't going to win in overtime, and I kind of just wanted them to just go for 3 in regulation, because I felt like it would be a cool pop if they got it. If not, whatever, easily defensible, because it felt like one of those games where the Knicks, who by the way were also missing a key player, they were missing Karl Anthony Towns, who has been I don't think he's their best player, but he has been their best player this year, I think you could say. So both missing their quote unquote best player. But it felt like one of those games that Knicks thought they could just win whenever they decided to, and they weren't able to do it in the 4th. So going into overtime, I was just like, I don't think we have any shot here. But,
I mean, it's so obvious. The fans, every time, obviously anytime the Knicks play there, it's a Knicks home game, which is embarrassing. It's more embarrassing when the Sixers are good, or almost good.
Yeah, tonight
Tonight, who cares? You could tell when the Knicks were cheering and then the Sixers fans would cheer, and it sounded like only 11-year-old kids. And it was the 11-year-olds are excited.
Yeah, you see Frankman off to the side trying to hype them up.
Nobody cares. It's just man. Also, it really annoyed me. Fuck Nick Nurse for not fouling in overtime, but then taking a timeout
Right.
with 4 seconds left, down 6. It's like, fuck you, dude.
You want to drop a 6-pointer.
Fuck you. Yeah, you're gonna drop a 6-point play. Go draw it up then. That's a big fuck you from me to him. Yeah, I mean, like I want to give Maxey.
One quick thing before we get to this game. The good thing about this January stretch is that, like, if they get obliterated through this January stretch and the season ends, then I feel like we could come into after a game and be excited that Justin Edwards looks good or something, or just like free everybody from the sort of middle ground that everyone sort of still exists in, even if they think the season's over. They don't know what to watch for or what to be excited with. So there would be like a release to me if they would just lose 9 in a row.
The only time that I was excited tonight where I pumped a fist was when Justin Edwards hit that big 3. I was happy for him. I was happy that he did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Local kid.
Yeah.
Played great against Oklahoma City. Hit a couple big shots, hit a nice little mid-range tough one. Brunson kept going after him defensively, and he got caught ball watching, getting turned around on an OG corner 3. And the same thing happened when Jalen kicked it out to him for a baseline dunk. It's just like, undrafted rookies are going to make defensive mistakes, but a good contest without fouling on that last OG miss to end regulation. Like I do think he's a little slow-footed for a wing, but I think he's got decent. He's long enough, and he's got decent on-ball instincts. I think he'll be at least an average defender once his like off-ball awareness kicks in as he gets older.
Yeah, I was thinking starting with Maxey. I don't know what
they got to give him at some point after the deadline, they got to like bump him up to a standard contract.
Justin Edwards. Yeah, I would think so. Who did you want to start with?
There was a quote in the broadcast that said he was like, Nick Nurse was thinking about it for 6 weeks, thinking about giving him minutes. I'm like, Nick, don't think that hard.
Yeah. What, you're giving Ricky Council minutes instead? Like, what are we?
Nobody's there. Nobody's playing.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon, who is hitting threes again, which is nice, but I've just never seen anyone hustle less in my life. Like at the wing, as like a role player, I've never seen it. Like his hustle is like James Harden phoning it in hustle on defense. He is just like a teenager cleaning his room. Like he just doesn't give a shit at all. It's really upsetting to watch, and it like infects the rest of the team. Like it's putrid. If you can trade him, just trade.
Oh, well, he'll get traded. He'll get traded by the deadline.
That would be good. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like the 3 weeks between or whatever it is between now and the deadline is just going to be all right. How much they want to get into, like how everybody should be available aside from Maxey, McCain, PG, Embiid, and probably Caleb because he'll be here the next few years. He signed to a very fair deal, but everybody else, it's like go for it, dude. Trade anybody. They're not going to re-sign almost any of these guys.
Yeah.
So trade them and get whatever you can, whether that's a pick or a player that's signed for next year that you think could help next year, whatever, from some that's like buried in the rotation, out of the rotation on some team that's trying to make the playoffs. It's just like, I have a couple things to say. We can talk about Maxey's improvement. We can talk about PG, but like, man, it's just this has been. Yeah, I mean, this has been an awful season. This has been like the
worst season we've done.
The worst season we've done.
Not even close.
By a lot. Way worse in the process years. There's nothing worse than expectations and them not getting together. And it's also cursed. Like it's obviously cursed in the big ways, like Embiid injury, whatever, Jared McCain injury, Embiid suspension, PG injuries before the season starts.
Caleb Martin
all that
injury.
Stuff, everything.
Yeah.
But Drummond now, obviously he was not like a huge part of the team, but like they finally okay, we got a backup center that's going to be stable, and he just hasn't played. And when he has played, he's been bad. But there's also just like little things that go wrong inexplicably all the time. Like Maxey, who I did think had a great second half. He had a ton of tough finishes inside, which we've been talking about lately, how he's been missing those. He splits the defense, hits the lefty scoop, gorgeous play. Paul George steals the inbound. I'm like, okay, this is the run.
Yep.
They're making the run. Here it goes.
Yep.
And under the basket, PG like makes a nice, easy bounce pass to Maxey. That like the kind of 2-on-1 bounce pass.
Yep.
That would be made in my dad's game. Just like, hey, that guy's there. There's a guy open right to me, bounce pass to me, 70-year-old to 70-year-old layup.
Yep.
There it is. And somehow it gets away from Maxey. The pass was weird and it kicked away. And then the ball goes towards the out of bounds, and Yabu gets called for loose ball foul. End of the third quarter, couldn't grab a rebound, bounced off 3 different Sixers' hands 4 times. Knicks come up with multiple offensive rebounds. Jalen hits a floater. Then Justin Edwards hits a 3 to cut it to 2. They get a nice stop. And then Paul George, after that big stop, bring the ball up the court. Too casual, too unaware, nobody telling him, gets vultured from behind by Deuce McBride. And even like Yabusele wins the tip. And Kelly saves it from going out of bounds. And somehow it ends in a Josh Hart fast break. It's just like every single thing. It's the angels in the outfield, but evil. It's demons in the outfield. It is amazing how often just like weird fucking shit happens on this team. I didn't care about them winning this game. Fuck them. Fuck this team. Fuck this season. But like, it is frustrating to watch like truly baffling stuff happen over and over.
Yeah, I mean, this fucking season. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you. Here's the good news. The only good news, our partners for the pod, is brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. Ksebe. Ksebe. As we sit here in the throes of winter, you think about the beach during the summer, driving down the shore. I got news for you. You shouldn't be going down the shore to Jersey. You should be going down the shore to Delaware, and you should be doing it in your own Delaware beach home, if you can afford it. Obviously, it's a big thing. It's only for a certain portion of the audience. But if you do, you realize you start looking in Delaware. You're like, wow, this is way harder to buy down here than it used to be. That's why you need a guy like Ksebe, Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process, based out Long and Foster in Bethany Beach. If you've never thought about Delaware, Bethany's a great location. Rehoboth, a great location. Lewis, a great location. Dewey, a great location. All different, all for different sorts of people. The best thing about Delaware is that Delaware Beaches offers all the same stuff as Jersey, except for super high property tax. Delaware, lower property tax. But again, you need a real realtor to lead you through it. And that is Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. 302-864-8643. That's 302-864-8643. Covers all of Delaware, by the way. If you want to look if you just need a regular house, not a beach house in like Newcastle County or something like that, it can help you there too. Help you all of Maryland as well. And here's the good news. So if you don't have a realtor, if you're in a different state or whatever, if not in Delaware or Maryland, he can't sell your house. He can't buy you a house. But what he can do is be your resource. So you go to Ksebe first. You tell him where you're looking, whatever state, what you're looking for, price range, so on and so forth. He'll go through his giant Rolodex of realtors, interview them, and find the right one for you. So it's the only one you need. Cell phone, direct cell phone, 302-864-8643. That is, once again, 302-864-8643 or adam@processrealtor.com. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. You want to talk about Maxey?
Sure.
I think he's been, for me, Spike, one of the hosts, it's been kind of a tough watch for me this year. Like, not just...
That was so obvious, I thought you were going to say the opposite thing.
Oh, no. Not just because the shots aren't going in, he's not, but like, he's kind of an annoying watch this year in that he complains so much and he gets into this sort of hyper frustrated tunnel vision thing. And he has stretches where he plays well. I'm not saying I don't think he's been bad this year or anything, but we've seen so much consistent improvement from him. It's sort of startling to watch him one year and not, his defense has been better, of course,
a lot better,
but offensively, I feel like he's taken a step back and he's kind of an annoying, an annoying watch this year.
Yeah, I mean, 13 to 32 from the field. Threes weren't going in. A bunch of like tunnel vision, head down, just like driving into several guys. He's more loose with the ball, turning the ball over too much, not being judicious about that kind of thing. But he also had a ton of nice plays, especially in the second half. He rises up for a defensive rebound that he grabbed over Josh Hart, and then good awareness to immediately hit a head pass to Paul George for a fast break dunk. That and one that he pivoted away from OG and got the foul, and he's like hit that shot as he's falling down. That's a really tough shot. That's impressive. I loved the strip from Brunson with 7 seconds left in overtime. where he like punched the ball out like a linebacker. And PG gets on the ground and calls timeout, and they give themselves a chance. And then, I mean, hitting that blown by Achua.
You mean in the fourth, not in overtime.
Yeah, blown by Achua, getting the running start off the ATO. Nick Nurse loves that. The Knicks should know that Maxey likes to do that. He did it to them in the playoffs last year. Big play in the regulations. I mean, he made some nice plays. Like he can still do that, but it's just like anyone that thinks that they should just like build around Maxey and Embiid, I just like don't understand. Like we're watching it. We've watched it the last 2 seasons, and they're like sometimes almost a 500 team. Like you need a really, really good player, and they don't. Maxey is like a very good. He's going to be an all-star some years.
Yeah.
But like he's just not like the franchise guy, and it's just
he's a 2.5
happen. But yeah, I agree that he's, he seems like he like grew up too fast. It seems like he was so like
the innocence is gone.
The innocence is gone. He's been in Philadelphia too long. Like remember his house either burned down or almost burned down, and he was like still in such good spirits about it. Like
yeah.
That was a few years ago,
yeah.
And like he's just like always had such a good positive attitude, and now it seems like he just grew up. And it's like a little bit of like what happens to my nieces sometimes. Like if my nieces are all together, they're like on their phones and like doing stuff, and I'm like, you guys used to be like so like smiley and sweet, and now you're like you're just looking. I say something and you're like, okay, and it's like, come on, dude.
Or it's like in a sitcom where there was like a little kid, it was kind of cute, and then all of a sudden, because there's like 6 months in between when you see them, all of a sudden it's the next season, and they're like fully in puberty, and the voice is lower, and you're like, man, you're not a cute kid anymore.
No,
you're just some
and to be clear,
guy.
my nieces Harper and Michaela are still like that, but the older twins are now in Maxey era of just like rolling their eyes at me. But yeah, I mean, like, look, PG, I think he's been pretty good. Like he's still dealing with his wife, and his kids are in LA and in the areas of the fires and stuff, and so I'm sure that's taking a toll. I mean, who knows how you can't quantify that. But I thought he played pretty good, and I thought it was like a decent mix of like getting to the rim using deceleration, spreading the floor, finding teammates.
Everybody keeps saying he's like washed. He does not look washed at all.
It's just that they're losing games.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
When they lose games, like it looks bad. When they were winning games during that, like do you remember like that very small,
it's like
tiny little stretch?
Yeah.
That tiny little stretch where they were winning games this season.
Yeah.
And he was scoring like 16. He was like 16, 6, and 6. And it was like, people were mad. Like, I didn't really care that much. Like, they win games. He's a part of it. He spreads the floor on offense. And he's playing great defense, better defense than I would have guessed at his age. I mean, he played 43 minutes tonight. Like, he got on the ground for that play. He found, finally, I've been hounding. I mean, like I've been in a torture chamber of my own making for just like how bad this team is at throwing lobs, or not throwing lobs, more specifically, never doing it, never thinking about it, not realizing that it's allowed, playing like fucking 1912 era basketball of not throwing lobs to your teammates to dunk it. But PG did throw a lob to a baseline, Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see. They could do that all the time. It happened more when KJ was healthy, but they never do it to a center. I mean, I'm certain that they're last in the league of throwing lobs to centers.
Do we even have centers anymore?
I don't. Well, I mean, I would say Adembona, like that is what he like. Look at any Adembona highlight tape from UCLA, and it's like him catching lobs in the lane, him catching lobs in the lane. It's over and over again. It's like they're just not doing it. And I honestly think like Nick Nurse should practice it because nothing else is working. I don't know why if we're practicing lobs? Ever. Just practice throwing lobs and like have a fun. It's lob throwing Tuesdays. Just like do it and don't run anything else. Don't worry about defense. It doesn't work.
It's lob throwing Tuesday.
It should just be like, why not mix it up? And it's just like, oh man, I got to do the help thing. Obviously, Brunson's incredible. I think Brunson is still their best player over Cat.
Yes, he's their best player. He is the worst foul grifter in the NBA. Though.
Yeah, I mean, he also makes shots out of it. though,
Yes.
so it doesn't quite bother me as much. But I do resent the officials for giving it to him. He doesn't need it. They don't have it. They don't have to. But yeah, I mean, he sends. He's hitting shots. He's hitting his mid range. He's stepping into threes. He's getting all the way to the rim. There's just not much you can do when you're too scared to like use your hands to cover a guy like that because you're worried that he's just gonna like launch into you and draw a foul, which obviously Embiid does also.
My favorite Brunson thing is when he draws a foul from a guy that is standing behind him.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. That kills me. That kills me. But he tried to do it to Justin Edwards on a big shot late in the game, and he didn't get the call. Good for the refs, but he still made the shot. Like that's the hard stuff about covering him is he can still just make it. But so then they try to take the ball out of his hands. They send to a Brunson like 40 feet from the rim, and they just get like dunks or corner threes out of it. They just like over and over again. And then there's a really good, I thought it was a really good Doris Burke line where she says, as long as Jalen makes that first pass, and then the reads come quickly, you as the defense should pay for that trap. And it's like, that's what good teams do. They make it look really easy. It's like, oh, you're going to double our guy 40 feet from the rim? Okay, well, we're going to get a dunk out of it. That'll make you feel stupid. And good teams make you look stupid for doing that stuff. And the Sixers aren't a good team.
No, they're not. Do you have anything else from the game or
a couple tiny things? Yep. Deuce McBride has never missed a shot.
No, not against us.
He's never missed a shot.
No.
He even hit one that bounced twice on the rim.
It was the
corner.
fucking what's it called? It was like the Kawhi shot.
Yeah, it was just to fuck with me. Get to do that. That was so nice of that to happen. I do think it's been a nice little run for Jeff Dalton. Good for him. Hit a couple floaters. Shows nice touch. Fourth quarter, he snakes a pick and roll. Finds hits the bank three at the end of the third. He snakes a pick and roll. He really likes snaking that pick and roll. Finds Oubre cutting baseline for a nice dunk. Oubre had a good game, 16 and 10. And yeah, they're just ultimately the things that the Sixers don't have without Joel. The obvious stuff is like offense and like open threes. But it is hard to over quantify. You cannot do it. How much of an impact he makes defensively by just
being there,
simply being there, simply standing near the rim and being smarter than the offense a lot of the time and covering the guard and the big in the pick and roll and making it when he's on, obviously making it like impossible to do his stuff against. People aren't cutting when he's there. But without Joel, they're just like, there's no rim deterrence. Bona tries. He's just too frail at this point. At his age, he's going to get bigger. And they're just never communicating consistently enough to not give up like wide open looks. And Nick Nurse just wants to go to his zone. He wants to press the big zone, the big red zone button in his pocket. He's pressing that thing, and the zone fucking sucks, dude. Your zone sucks. Your zone sucks ass. Just switch everything. Just fucking try it for me one time. God damn it.
He might quit, honestly.
Yeah, he seems miserable.
Yeah,
I don't blame him. Miserable.
Yeah.
So they lose. They lose again.
Other thing from the game, and this is notable because this person is been on the banned list for a long time.
On your ban list, I never.
No, Mike.
It wasn't. It was one of your people.
Yes, but banned for all of us. That's how it works. You choose somebody to get banned. That you want to ban Danny Chow. We banned Danny Chow. I don't even remember why.
We banned Danny Chow.
Yeah. No, you banned Danny Chow. Remember? But
I don't even remember why I did it.
But
I love Danny.
I think it was because he went to Toronto once or something. I couldn't even remember
that does
why.
Sound right. Yeah, that does sound. That sounds like what it was.
But Doris was banned because at the Milwaukee Fly the Process, she was calling that game. She very well knew it was us. She followed us on Twitter right before the game. She heard us and did not say it was us. Mm-hmm. Did not say the name. But tonight, and I have not heard this yet, tonight on the ESPN broadcast, here is what was said.
I want to know. Because I'm coming from Philadelphia, at Indy, at Milwaukee, at Denver. Cleveland, your home game. At Chicago, good finish there by Josh. What do you look like? Because the pre-All-Star game schedule for Nick Nurse and this team is absolutely brutal. And if it is as ugly record-wise, what do you do as an organization? Because have you built up enough collective habits if you listen to radio or the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, talk to Kyle Neubeck, who does a great job covering this team. I don't know how to describe how it feels here in this city.
Okay.
That's as good of an ad for this podcast as we can get.
She is. I am.
You listen to us. Long pause.
Yep.
Sigh.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's it. Welcome, new listeners. Thank you, Doris.
Yeah. I hereby introduce the motion to unban Doris Burke.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. What say you?
I mean, always. I've always been a Doris guy.
CJ, do you vote to unban Doris?
Confirmed.
Okay.
CJ, take her name off the big list that you have in your room.
Doris Burke, officially the first person I can even remember ever being officially unbanned. So Doris Burke unbanned.
That's a special one because it's like it's not just like, oh, the Rights to Ricky Sanchez is here at the game, or the Rights to Ricky Sanchez had an interview with Embiid or something.
Media outlet.
She's just like, if you listen to them, they're miserable, basically, which indicates that she has listened to us and has clocked us being miserable, which is right.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by MortgageCS. CS stands for Concierge Service. If you need a mortgage, the first thing I want you to do is go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky, and that is where you become a Ricky VIP. And my big news here is that I have begun working with MortgageCS. So I actually get to get the Concierge VIP service because we got to buy a fucking house now, which is honestly I'm not looking forward to, but I am looking forward to working with MortgageCS. Now I have gotten started with MortgageCS right now. We haven't even gone to look at a house yet, and that's what you have to do. Start with MortgageCS and get them in the mix early. What you don't want to do is wait until you have a house under agreement and then you start shopping for other mortgages, and then maybe they could help you, but you miss the opportunity to really work with them and see what they're all about, which is not just about getting you the loan, which they can do, getting you great service, getting you great rates, all that stuff. You get the entire process of helping you through it, of helping you with your bid, helping you get the house that you bid on, maybe even working with you on what that bid should be. All those things. MortgageCS is great. When other mortgage brokers are scaling down and cutting staff and maybe not as available as you would like them to be, MortgageCS is always available. Evenings available. My call with Ben, I think, was like at almost 8 o'clock at night, because that's when I was heading home from work. I said, hey, how about 7:30 tonight? I'll be there. So if you're busy, that's cool. They will find time for you. And even if you're not buying right away, I'm not buying right away. If you're not buying till the fall, the earlier that you can get going, you can get all the paperwork together that you need to, all the financial information that you need to, is best. They are going to help you. The other thing that I always want to mention, because I think it's really, really important, is that they are independent. They're an independent mortgage broker. So the big ones, when you Google them, that pop up first, usually not independent, have deals with banks, and it can become a little hazy as to whether the loan they're getting you helps them more than it helps you. If you go to MortgageCS, you always know it helps you the most. Always available, always informative, always patient, absolute best. So I mentioned Ben. This is the number. Call or text him anytime. You can even text him right now during the pod, 10:24 at night, 267-391-7425. That is 267-391-7425. Mortgage can be scary. They make it unscary. They make it easy. If you don't believe me, just Google them, see all the 5-star reviews, hundreds of them right there. Or just go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky to learn more. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. All right, Joel didn't play tonight, and he didn't play the game before that, and he played the game before that, and play the game before that. And Sixers Adam put together a little list of, and I won't read all of them, but of like the beginning to end of this like foot sprain thing they have going on. That we believe it's not when he tripped over the photographer in the beginning. It was toward the end of the game against Boston on Christmas. He finished that game. Against Utah, he was listed as questionable, and he played. Against Portland, he was listed as questionable, and he played.
It's just crazy. Sorry, just let's...
Yeah.
Tripping over for the photographer.
Yes, that's a what the fuck moment. Yeah.
I just need you to let's all just sit with that. That happened.
Yeah. Yes.
With the roped off area.
Yes.
And just add it to the fucking list, Doc.
So then New Year's Day, he was ruled out, but there was no mention of his foot sprain. It was just rest. Right. Okay. So then listed questionable for Golden State, played. Then Brooklyn, listed as questionable, foot sprain, played. And all these games, it's not like he played 16 minutes. He played at least 30 minutes in all of these games. Then he doesn't play. He was ruled out 2 hours before tip-off against Phoenix. Nick Nurse said Embiid is day-to-day, quote, nothing major. Okay. Ruled out. Injury report day before the game against Washington, January 8th. Against New Orleans, Nick Nurse says Embiid participated in practice the day before. Ruled out day before the game. Nick Nurse said the foot sprain was, quote, aggravated, but still a day-to-day injury.
You want to hear aggravated?
Yeah.
The Sanchez podcast by Doris Burke.
Yep. Shout out Doris. January 12th. This is questionable. Foot sprain. Made the trip for a one-off away game, which you don't usually make the trip if you're not going to play. Ruled out 30 minutes before tip-off.
Yeah.
January 14th. Ruled out day before, front end of a back-to-back. I think we thought, and then when they rested everybody, it was just because he's going to play against the Knicks. He didn't.
Yeah.
This has the vibes of
Knicks on national television.
Yes, Knicks on next. Yes.
Okay, he's going to do that. He's going to come back. They're going to try it.
This has the vibes of he's going to be out for the year. This is weird. And I just want to give a little perspective in that on Embiid in general, because the perception is, and it's right, obviously, but it's not as right as people think, is that Joel Embiid injured all the time, misses a ton of games. He's been injured a lot. He's missed a lot of games, but 17-18 played 63 games. 18-19 played 64 games. The two COVID seasons, 19-20 and 2021, plays 51 games each year. Then in 21-22 plays 68 games. 22-23 plays 66 games. Now, when you compare that,
this isn't 31,
right?
19.
This
isn't every time. He's been playing 70% of the season for most of his playing career.
And if you go and you compare that to Giannis the last 5 to 7 years, or compare it to what's his name, Luka, the last his career, it looks the same. It looks the same. Now the conversation about it's not the same, and those guys might not have as many injuries, but then, and even last year before the knee injury, it looked like he was going to be top 2 MVP. He was having a great year last year.
Yeah. The issue is the Kuminga falling on his leg.
So post that knee injury, we have the end of last year, the playoffs where he looked like a shell of himself, the Olympics where he looked like a shell of himself, and then this year where he's played a total of 13 games. This all feels pretty ominous to me, and maybe I'm just being doomy about it, but this doesn't feel right to me.
I wish that was the case. I don't think it is the case. I wish that he would just be it's just weird, and you know what? 3 to 4 months of rest would do him good.
I'm saying this feels bad.
No, I know. I'm saying I wish that he was just out for the year.
Oh, right.
But I think he wants to play. He's trying to play every time he goes. He's trying to give it a go. There's no reason to talk as recently as they have done about him starting to play back-to-backs again. If there was talk of oh, this is more serious and whatever. I think it's just hurting him, and they're they wake up the next day and see what it's like. I don't think there's some big grand plan. I don't think there's some big secret that's being hidden from us.
No,
I think every day they wake up and Joel tells them how it feels, and if it feels okay to give it a go, he plays on it a little bit. He goes through warm-ups or whatever. He practices whatever. And to this point, it hasn't been good enough to play through.
I think what I mean from an ominous standpoint is like he's not healing. Like his knee isn't healing, his foot isn't healing. Like
the knee is a different thing.
Yeah,
and like I don't know about healing. The ankle is just like it's just probably a sprain that is not going away and not able to get like push off of it and stuff.
Well, that's not healing.
No, I know I'm not, but that's normal thing. Like ankles take time. You tweak them again. Like that's not bothersome to me in any way. Whatever. I don't care. Again, I don't care. I'm not going to care. I'm never going to care. You listen to this podcast the rest of the year, just know that I don't give a shit. But yeah, I mean, I would like for him to have whatever the safest injury that is the most pleasant for him to endure that sits him for the rest of the year, because the season is over. And then I would like something similar to happen to at least one of Maxey or PG. And then
the safest injury possible.
The safest injury that takes them out of several months. Yep. Wisdom teeth? Could it be that?
It seems safe.
So there's a wisdom tooth bug going around. They all get that. Because it really is over, and you just have to trade everyone. And they're going to have to trade Yabusele, and that's going to suck because he's been the most delightful presence on the team this year. They're going to have to trade Oubre, who I obviously love. They might not trade KJ Martin because at least he could be expiring next year if they pick up his option. But they might trade him also. You trade Eric Gordon. You trade if anyone's willing to give you anything for Kyle Lowry or Andre Drummond, thank you.
What's wrong with you?
There's just nothing else, dude. The season is this is a playing out the string situation, and it's honestly been playing out the string, with the exception of like a couple games there where it started to feel good, beating Boston on Christmas. It's just like, I'll see you at the trade deadline 3 weeks from tomorrow, and I'm gonna enjoy March Madness. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of March Madness, and I'll see you at the draft, at the lottery. And hopefully they get, odds are right now.
You want to do Tankathon? See how you do?
I already have it up, dog.
Live here.
Odds are, so they have the 8th best odds in Tankathon.
All right.
In the draft lottery.
May or may not have a venue reserved for a lottery party, by the way.
They keep the pick if it's top 6.
Yes.
The lottery drawing draws the top 4. So if they finish as the 8th spot, which is very likely they do, because the teams under them will be worse than them.
Yep. Washington, New Orleans,
Brooklyn, and Portland are the teams immediately under them.
Yeah, and they're going to try to be bad.
They're going to try to be bad, and they're going to be worse. The Sixers will probably not try to be bad for a little bit longer, but they're doing such a good job not trying to be bad. And then the teams above them, really just Chicago, maybe Atlanta. Like I could see them falling off the map or something like that. But like Golden State, San Antonio, Sacramento wants to win.
Yeah.
Detroit wants to win.
Yeah.
Detroit right now is
they're winning
in the playoffs right now. Yeah. And good for them. Good for Tobias, the floor raiser. So I think that they're probably the odds of them. There's a lot of season left, a lot of losses to accumulate, but I think that they will be the 8th seed in the lottery. Which means they have a 26.3% chance of a top 4 pick. And that's a better chance than they have at making the playoff run this year.
Right.
Both getting into the play-in, winning the play-in, and then facing one of Cleveland or Boston, beating them. And I'm honestly, okay, if they beat them, then that would be a win for me. I wouldn't need to advance past the second round if you just beat a Cleveland or Boston team that is as good as they are. To me, 26.3% chance of a top 4 pick is well higher than getting into the play-in, winning the play-in, and beating either of those two teams. Do you agree?
Got to get Ike to the lottery party to jump on your back in case we get the number 1 pick. I'll carry him around
on my back.
Yeah.
And it's a good fucking draft year, man. It doesn't have to just be Cooper Flagg. There's a lot of really good players.
Or are you going to randomize for us? See if you get the
yeah, should we do it one every podcast? All right.
Yeah.
Starting now, one every podcast. Sim Lottery. Oh, we're the 2nd seed.
There we go.
The 2. Chicago wins the lottery. Sixers 2, New Orleans 3, Charlotte 4.
All right.
I would fucking, if we got the 2 seed, that'd be beautiful. Honestly, if we get the 1, I would be very upset because things have not worked out when the Sixers get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I don't want the 1. Give me 2 through 4. If you get the 1, maybe trade it.
Well,
I don't know.
2 hasn't
You
worked
can't
out
trade
so
it.
great for us either.
Who is 2?
Well, Evan Turner was 2.
Yeah, Evan Turner's 2.
Okafor, what was Okafor, 3?
3. Okafor 3, but Embiid 3.
Yeah.
Nerlens 6.
Yeah.
Obviously Markel 1.
Yeah.
Obviously Ben Simmons
And 1. Yeah. Before we get to the arena stuff, we did
Wow. What a pep in my step that just gave me.
we got this voicemail.
And rig it. Let me say, sorry, before just rig it.
Yeah. They're not
just
gonna
fucking rig it.
They're not gonna rig it.
You have to rig it. We're gonna come back to this when we talk about the arena, but like rig it for that.
For the arena.
Adam Silver and Roger Goodell pressuring the Sixers owner to like keep the thing, whatever. Rig it then. This is what you have a Colangelo for. Rig it. Rig that shit. God damn it.
We got this voicemail to 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, my name is Pat from Westchester. Just asking, me and my friend Dan, shout out Dan, we're having a conversation. We want to know what CJ's takes on the Sixers are currently. I feel like we only really get CJ's opinion on maybe an auction item or just an early pod take, but you know, how you feeling about the Sixers so far, CJ? Thank you.
How do you think I'm feeling about the Sixers so
Wow.
Whoa! It comes in hot.
Not great. I have no takes. This team sucks.
We're gonna do
for me.
We're gonna do a little switcheroo. Where all of us switch roles. I'm gonna go to producer, Spike's gonna go to me, and CJ's gonna be Spike. That's gonna be a podcast.
You're gonna go to producer?
I'm gonna be in the dark. I'm probably gonna keep popping myself up. I pop up.
Okay.
I'll pop up a lot more than CJ pops himself up.
And are you editing everything and posting? Posting it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not gonna work, but I'm gonna press some buttons. I'll
The
fun
rights
for
to
a
Ricky
round.
said. The rights to
I'm
Ricky
talking about
Sanchez-
chords. I'll buy
rights-
CJ some chords.
The rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Oh, you can bet the playoffs at Draftkings Sportsbook and bet the birds. So right now, the line opened at 6, still sits at 6. Eagles -6. And by the way, DraftKings is the best place to bet touchdowns. Mike, Eagles -6 on Wednesday night. How you feeling about the birds
-6.
-6?
I feel good about the Eagles, but I do think that -6 scares me.
Yeah.
And I'll say it's like the same thing. I think last week with the Packers, I said late touchdown makes it closer than it looks. And that kind of wasn't right.
No.
But that's my bet here again.
Is the late
a
touchdown,
late touchdown to
makes
make it kind of close, and like an onside kick that we can recover and breathe easy.
What I'm hoping is I would stay away. I wouldn't bet this game. But what I'm hoping is a lot of times
Never bet your own team. That's
No.
I mean that's insane.
Unless
Unless you
you're
want them
gonna
to
bet
lose,
against
unless you
them.
think they're going to lose.
yes.
You never know when your team is definitely going to win.
No,
But you do
always
know
when they're
going
lose.
to lose, and that you can bet.
I texted Sixers Adam. Game was tied. 5 minutes left tonight. I texted him. I'm betting $10,000 on the Knicks. I knew they were going to lose. There's no chance.
Yeah.
My thing with this is what I'm hoping is sometimes when a team has a particularly emotional upset win, like the Rams had, everything that's going on in LA, having to play the home game away in Arizona, that it's hard for them to match that again.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping from an Eagles perspective is that I've been scared of the Rams since November, to be honest with you.
Good team.
Yeah. And just a quick couple of touchdown props. Want to throw a few
I
at you?
will say that as far as like the Fires and the Rams being like emotional win, whatever, I volunteered with for some like fire stuff yesterday, distributing clothes and stuff with Colleen Wolf, and Colleen was like, nobody mentioned like emotional win for like the Chargers when they
That's a good point.
when they got blown out. I was like,
Yeah.
that's true, Colin. No one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is
So,
a good point.
it
It
doesn't-
is a good point.
So emotional games are 1-1 in the NFL this
Yep.
last week.
Few touchdowns. Devontae Smith is plus 1,000 as first TD scorer.
Ooh.
AJ is plus 800. Saquon plus 390. Jalen plus 475. I kind of like Devontae at plus 1,000.
What if AJ was listening to the rights to Ricky Sanchez on the bench? He just had a big like tablet book-sized tablet that just said the rights to Ricky Sanchez, had the logo, had Abby's art, and it was just like he's just listening and he's getting.
Can you
getting
imagine
into it.
the glory? Well, you can go to DraftKings Sportsbook. You can do same game parlay on this, whatever you want. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook, bet all the playoff games. And if you're a new customer, you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's $5 to bet $200 in bonus bets instantly. Quick shout out. Thanks to DraftKings, Ethan over at DraftKings. Every time I have a question about, hey, what would the line be if this happened? They always get me the answer. So that's only for me, but thank you. Make everyday game day with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code RTRS. That is code RTRS for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When you bet just $5, DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details. So after...
How about this?
Yeah.
How about this?
What?
Chat.
Oh, need to rig it. Lotto party shirts. Oh, that's a great Lotto party shirt. Rig it for us. Yeah, rig it. So after 2 years of saying that they needed to save the city by putting an arena at Market East, late on Saturday night, the word started getting out that they were like, why don't we just go 50-50 and stay in the exact same space? So they will build an arena with Comcast Spectacor, the Flyers, stay in South Philly.
Enemies to friends.
What's that?
From enemies to friends.
From enemies to friends.
Enemies to lovers.
Comcast will get a small minority stake in the Sixers. Comcast and Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment promised to do a revitalization project at Market East.
I can't wait for that.
Heard a rumor of a 5,000 seat concert arena, which we don't really need, I don't think. But
I thought it was going to be a biomedical hub.
Yes. Well, come on. All the different things you could put there. Come on. And they also promised to try for a WNBA team. And here was Josh.
Which is cool.
Here's Josh.
If this works, I'll be excited. If it doesn't work, I don't care. I care about the WNBA team. I don't care about the rest of it. I actually do. We talked about this when it happened, but I like the sports complex.
Oh,
it's
I like
partly
it too.
because I grew up with it.
Well, everybody wanted it there.
It's cool that it's a sports complex. It makes it unique, Philadelphia unique to other cities. Everything's in one place. You tailgate like in the off season of one, you see the stadium for the other, and you're like, oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
there are gonna be Eagles games soon, or there's gonna be Phillies games soon, or not. Fuck, their Sixers are on soon. That would be the alternative. It's good to have that, and it's fun, and it's
everybody
unique.
likes it.
And you're gonna say the public transit, but like absolutely, you can take public transit to
the Sixers game.
The Sixers
in South Philly. Yes,
100%.
Yes. People are like, well, I want to be able to take SEPTA there. I was like, well, I got news for you. there's like a SEPTA stop.
Right there.
There's literally a quarter mile from
there.
Yeah. So, and the reaction from listeners at IP, everybody was happy. We put up a poll. I think 85% people were like, yeah, keep it in South. There's no one who's dying for it to happen at Market East. So here's Josh Harris. I think the thing that you have to realize about Josh Harris that we've always said is that he is just like a motivational speaker kind of guy. And he just gets you fucking going, No. Here was him at the press conference.
Fire me up. Get in the huddle, Josh.
With Mayor Sherelle Parker. And so here was...
And Jane Daniels.
Here's how it came together. Yeah, you brought Jane Daniels.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Here is Josh Harris on how on why they changed their mind.
Josh and David, why did you change your mind? And this has been kind of a divisive process. Do you have any regrets about going through it?
So we didn't really change our mind. Actually, we were really committed to Market East, but obviously when we also had our North Star was doing the right thing by Philly, and when a lot deals don't come together exactly when you want them, and when Comcast and when Brian Adam Silver said, look guys, you're fighting, let's try to come together. We felt we could build a better arena. We could also revitalize Market East. And we felt that it was 1 + 1 = 3 situation, and so we pivoted. It's a little more complicated for all of us. Comcast was willing generously, even though they had put in a lot of money into the existing arena to make it great, to move up their time frame, and all of us made compromises to do the right thing by Philly.
No, that's what it was. It was just
business
the right
is
thing
so stupid. It's so dumb.
So
1 + 1 = 3 situation. You mean one of those things where the math doesn't add up? One of those situations?
So there's a few possibilities.
My brother, you were getting audited for that math.
There's a few possibilities as to how this happened. Possibility one is they always wanted to stay in South Philly, and Comcast was not giving them the deal that they wanted to give them. So they spent 2 years and I don't know, $10 million.
And just a waste of time.
Waste of time.
Imagine to do
it.
Office supplies that they wasted probably doing all this
the city.
stuff.
I think the city did the report, like, all the time. And then
a waste of fucking time.
Two is that, the Commanders just got a stadium approved. And that is a lot of money to build 2 different buildings at the same time. And they were worried about having to pay for 2 at the same time. And this one, they're splitting the cost with someone else. That's the other possibility. I guess everybody was like, is here, just no one asked. Well, I guess some people asked. But my thing with everybody's like mad at the Sixers for wasting everyone's time, which of course. But to me, this is just what owners do. To me, the frustration, I was personally frustrated with the mayor and city council for bending over the way they bent over. Like one of the first things Sherelle Parker did when she went into office is just like rubber stamp this bullshit at Market East, got scared by the Camden thing. And then city council, who all said, we're not getting enough money here. We're not getting enough money here. We need $100 million. And Sixers are like, how about 40? They're like, okay, yeah, that's a totally good deal. Yeah, pass. Everybody who said no. And I give credit to the city council members who stuck with it and said no. Like, they are the ones who are paid to protect the city. The politicians.
Yeah.
Mayor and city council, those are the ones. The Sixers, shitheads as they are.
Classic shitheads.
Owners trying to make more money. This is how they operate.
No, their North Star is the city and what's best for the city.
So what I would say is, like, our politicians should not have rolled over and on a certain level should say, oh, you want to move to Camden? Oh, really? You're going to take the team that's named after 1776 in Philadelphia, and you guys are going to be the ones who are going to move it to Camden? Yep. How about you fucking call Brian Roberts at Comcast and you guys get in a room and stop? The other thing that pisses me off about all this, and this is the Comcast and the Sixers, is they tried to turn it into some fucking race war. They tried to make it about, well, you hate Asian people or you hate black people, and they turn the black people who are, the black organizations who are for it and the Chinatown organizations who are against it. And so it's just like, I know this is how it happens in every city, and this sort of like dirty pool, gross corporate nonsense, but like everybody should be, this is a phrase you would use, everybody should be a little embarrassed here.
Yeah.
Because the Sixers should
We need a sound for when I say that and then when you say it. The embarrassed sound. Someone make a jingle.
I'm embarrassed because the entire
Constantly
thing,
embarrassed.
all the fighting and the fighting online between David Adelman and fucking Comcast and the people, it's like, it's so disgusting. All of it is
Gross.
Like the two, we all knew, everybody knew the best place for it to be is in South Philly, where it is right now, where people can drive to it and people can take the fucking Broad Street line to it. It's just fucking easy for everybody. And we had to make pretend like the Sixers' biggest goal was like, ooh, what if we rebuild Market East with fucking 40 Sixers games? I'll tell you what'll fix Market East. 40 Sixers games. That's what's going to do. And you know what else we're going to do? We're going to take 7 concerts that would have been in South Philly, and now they'll be at Market East. So, oh, no, thank you. It's just like the entire thing is embarrassing. I'm glad that it's staying in South Philly. The mayor should be embarrassed. City council should be embarrassed. The Sixers should be embarrassed. Comcast should be embarrassed.
Yeah, I obviously don't know Philadelphia local politics as well as I know Los Angeles local politics since I've lived here since I became an adult. But I agree with you. I just generally hate when like politicians are led around by the nose by like big business assholes who could give a shit.
And you know what this makes it look like? It makes it look like if you're a big business asshole and you look at the way that Philadelphia just got worked,
They'll do it
makes
again.
you think is like, fucking, I can do this. What are they going to do?
Absolutely.
They're going to choke, you know?
100%.
Yeah. And
Just losers, man. I wasn't like, I don't know. I wasn't so pro or against one side or the other. I generally like the stadiums in South Philly, but it would have also been, I'm sure, the best outcome scenario where everything works out would have been cool in the Chinatown area.
The best
where, like,
outcome.
the best possible outcome where it does revitalize the city and there's new businesses and people can walk there and it's all good and there's not as much traffic and all this like how amazing it is.
Yeah,
like
and
the best outcome.
70% instead of 70% of people driving to games, magically 40% of the people drive to games.
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
That sounds great. The odds of that happening seemed so low.
Yes.
So low. And it would just been a massive total fucking shit show. So I guess considering all outcomes, this is the better one. And if they get a WNBA team, then that would obviously be the best one.
Yeah, and I don't know when that would happen. They just went through the round of expansion, right? So the next one is probably several years away.
There's an expansion draft, which was cool, and then the WNBA draft will be in a couple months, and then 2 new teams coming in next year. After this Warriors team, this Valkyries team is the first one. So there's one team it's 2028. That would be the final of this like chunk of expansion teams. This was always thought of like 4 new teams are going to be added in the WNBA to be added from 12 teams to 16. But because of how many bids there are, I guess it's possible that they, for like cities all over America, it's possible that they go like, actually, let's strike while the iron's hot and let's keep adding to it, and they might not stop at 16. But as of right now, 2028, the 16th team would be added, which is to this point unknown.
Okay. And I would guess, I wonder if they will keep, I haven't seen the plans or anything, but I wonder if they keep the Wells Fargo Center as remember we had the Spectrum for a number of years after the Wells Fargo Center was built. All right. Well, go Birds. We will talk to you this weekend.
Go Birds. And honestly, they should have moved the Sixers to Camden just for this fucking year.
Yes.
This year they're the Camden Sixers. Change the marketing. Change the merch.
I wouldn't even wish that upon Camden, to be quite honest with you.
That's true. That's true. Why would I do that to them?
Well, yeah, what did they do? They didn't want the Sixers.
They didn't deserve this.
Yeah. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, Lick face.